Hi, good morning, everybody. It's 11 o'clock. Just really happy to be here at the moment. Just by way of introduction, I'll just give you a little introduction about myself, who I am, and then we'll get on to the topic. So, my name is Rushdee Warley. I am South African by birth, and I've been working in high performance sport for more than 20 years now. My primary sport is swimming. Prior to coming to India, I was the high performance director for swimming in South Africa. And then from there, we moved to myself and my family, we moved to New Zealand, and I worked for a company called High Performance Sport New Zealand. I consulted in high performance strategy to a number of different sports across quite a broad range. So from Paralympic Games to swimming, triathlon, rowing, equestrian. So very interesting experience and an opportunity for me to learn a lot about different sports and how the various sports systems work. Uh, I've also been a coach. I've coached up to world championship level in swimming, and so that's been quite an interesting experience. And a lot of my direction and thought comes from a coaching background. We moved to India in 2016, myself and my family. We've been here since then. My family is based in Bangalore, and my wife and daughter, and my son is now living in the UK. He's on a scholarship there, a swimming scholarship also. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm currently, my role includes heading up the High Performance Institute, the Inspire Institute of Sport in the Ballari district in Karnataka. It's a relatively new facility. It's based on around 42 acres. And in fact, we will be celebrating our annual day of opening on Saturday. So just a little bit about why the Inspire Institute of Sport was formed. And, it goes into the topic of world-class daily training environments. So the purpose for the reasoning and the why of Inspire Institute of Sport has been about creating an environment where Indian athletes have the opportunity to fulfill their potential, which we believe will result in performances at the very high level, the Olympic Games, World Championships, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, etc. And everything we do and what we do at IIS is focused on delivering a world-class experience for athletes. So, the sports that we're focusing on right now would be judo, boxing, and wrestling, as well as track and field. Everything we have done in terms of building the environment that include the people in the environment, which is extremely important, would be around understanding how it is that we can contribute to allowing athletes to fulfill their potential. The facilities that we have been created has been through observing facilities and environments around the world, whether that be in Europe or the USA or South Africa, Australia. We came back with all that information and together we plotted out an environment that we believe would be optimal in an Indian, particularly in an Indian context. Based on all the feedback, we've created IIS. And we have gone about recruiting extremely talented people. While we've got a wonderful facility and is comparable to anywhere else in the world, we've got exceptionally good people that are focused, that are extremely talented, there to support our coaches every day and our athletes. So we've got a coaching team for all our sports. As I said, with a lot of my experience comes from coaching. I believe in a coach-driven environment. We have our we have a physiology team. We have people that support us with our nutrition. We've got a nutrition consultant as well as somebody on site that looks after our nutrition. We've got a strength and conditioning team that works across all our sports. And of course, we have a coaching team, which I've mentioned before. I think what we've done really well and still have a way to go in some of our sports would be integrating all these different disciplines and allowing coaches to feed all information from specialist experts and looking at things in a different way. As I said, I think we've done that relatively well so far, and we still have some work to do in that particular regard. Talking about creating a world-class daily training environment, I think what we focus on is understanding the small details in everything that we do, whether it be the boarding in our wall to ensure that we minimize injuries, whether it be level of air conditioning and the temperature of the air conditioning in our gym, whether it be the facilities or the training equipment that we put in our gym. I think all those minor details start creating an environment where athletes feel confident that all they need to do is pitch up for training and best every day. The housing facilities that we provide for our athletes is extremely important. They have the opportunity to live in what is really good housing. They have, they are in a dorm style housing. However, each one has their own bathroom. There's a level of comfort there that I think you won't see in many private schools and many boarding schools. I think it's extremely high. There's a good AC control in there, and we also have a cafeteria that is extremely well monitored, providing most importantly providing nutritious food for our athletes, which is again on what their needs are. So we've decided the two key elements. One of that we need to look after is where our athletes live and what they eat in order to make them feel comfortable. We have our own kitchen team on site that looks after these, this kind of thing. For us, meals are extremely important, and one of our biggest line items in our budget. But it's the first point of recovery. It's the point of where athletes have a sense of comfort. So for us, these things are really, really important, and it boils down to the details. Everybody that we have in our team, I try to stress the importance that every person, to not only to the team members but to the athletes also, that every person makes a difference in what we do. So while we have a good team of technical experts, we also have a very solid team of administration, maintenance, and every single person plays a role. We have an athletics team. For us, everything needs to revolve around how we can best service the athlete. Sometimes servicing doesn't always mean giving them everything they want. It means we need to provide them with what they need. I think those are really important things. But every single person has to work towards the same goal and objective. Whether it be the people working in horticulture, if they don't keep the surrounding areas in good shape, it means that the temperatures will increase here and have an impact on how the athletes perform. If the maintenance team does not, keep the facility in the standard that we require, athletes can slip and fall. Then you're sitting with additional injuries. So everybody understands that no matter what role they play at IAS, it's a role that is focused on allowing athletes to fulfill their potential. That's just a bit about IAS. I think we've got, for me, the most important thing is, we've got a good facility, and within our facility we have good people. People allows us to create a culture, something that is constantly evolving at IAS. The culture that we will always look to is how athletes are taking accountability for themselves. Our athletes are building self-esteem. Our athletes are becoming creative in the thought process, where athletes are starting to think about what they're doing and why they're doing it. All these elements are ingrained in our academics program, and I think it's really important in order to develop a high-level athlete, that athletes must be accountable. They need to talk about, they need to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And we actively encourage our athletes to ask questions. I think that's one of the most important things. They need to feel free. And once they feel free to ask whatever they don't understand, it allows them to learn. Learning is a very important part of our performance. And therefore, things like our academics program is critical in what we do. So, if I were to summarize the environment, I think it's for us about, looking at the details of what we do, understanding why how everybody has an opportunity to play a role, getting everybody, all our support staff, our technical staff working in the same direction. Of course, there will be disagreements, and in fact, I encourage those disagreements, because disagreements allow people to learn from one another. You don't always have to agree on everything, but you need to have the opportunity to listen to somebody, understand whether what their point of view is, and that point of view allow you to be better at what you do every day. So active discussions would certainly be encouraged. Disagreements would be, part and parcel of what we do. High performance is a very dynamic environment, and people are extremely passionate, myself included. So, it's not. I think the opportunity is always there for us to learn from everybody else. Having said that, this environment was created in collaboration with a group of different stakeholders, and I think it's really important to acknowledge that. We spoke about the environment a bit, but nothing exists in a vacuum. So from our side, starting right at the beginning, obviously we've had a very strong level of support from the JSW group, who started this initiative, and without the direction and obviously the initiative of the likes of Park Chindal and Mustafa Gas, for us this would still be a dream. We've been very fortunate that we have active involvement from a lot of our donors, and I think that's really important for us. We are a CSR-driven organization, so our funding comes through various CSR initiatives, and in order to maintain those relationships, I think it's important that you provide ongoing support, and when I say support, ongoing feedback, ongoing ongoing value to those donors. I think in these challenging times, it's going to be even more important that we continue to speak to our various partners, speak to our various donors, and let them understand that there's obviously a pandemic that is happening at the moment, and rightfully, a lot of people are working towards the ending that particular pandemic, and it's going to be time, but we need to be able to express to our donors that the opportunity to continue to invest in sport is an opportunity to continue to change lives. I think the sport is a vehicle in which you can build a nation, build pride in a nation, we have got the Olympics coming up in 2021 now, and after the challenges that we've all faced, I think to see Indian athletes being successful at the 2021 Olympics is going to be extremely important. It's going to lift the nation. It's going to, create pride, and those are really key elements of what happens. I think, as I said, we've got donors across a wide range of CSR. I think one of the other elements that we've worked on extremely hard is working together with our partners in government. So we have ongoing relationships, continuous discussion with TOPS and SAI. I think, again, we are very clear in what our role is, and our role is to support Indian athletes achieve their potential. And at the end of the day, these athletes are going on while they might be training at IAS, they are going on to represent India. So I think for us, it's really important. These relationships are important. We, in supporting TOPS, providing a home for Khelo India athletes. We also have, we also support organizations where possible. We have athletes from different organizations similar to ours that are training within IAS. IAS is about, again, fundamentally providing talented athletes with the opportunity to express themselves, express their potential. As I said, we're an accredited Khelo India program. It's, I think this is a fantastic program that the government has rolled out, giving young athletes an opportunity to train at various environments and supporting them along the way. I think there's not many countries in the world that have provided opportunities such as this. And I would encourage all the young athletes out there to go out and compete in these Khelo India Games. Look at the opportunities at the various centers that are being open for Khelo India, that are open for Khelo India. In that way, you at least have the opportunity to go and supported in an environment that is going to allow you to be the best that you can be. Some other areas that we've looked at in terms of developing and facilitating ongoing learning, and for us, ongoing learning is really critical in terms of our environment, not only for our athletes, but also, as importantly, for our staff. Would be, we've facilitated an international strength and conditioning course within IAS, where we provide facility support for the Australian Strength and Conditioning Association. We also have ongoing relationships, international relationships with the likes of the Scuba University. Recently, we had some of our judokas, prior to the lockdown, we had some of our young judokas going out to train in Japan. Obviously, that's amazing international experience that will stand them in good stead in the years to come towards Paris 2024. And most recently, we've also had a tie-up with of the University of Birmingham, and the key purpose behind these relationships is looking at how we exchange ideas, how we exchange knowledge, how we can go about upskilling our staff, various training camp opportunities. And I think going back to the core message around daily training environments, it's about looking at leveraging these relationships and allowing people, opportunities, allowing athletes opportunities to experience something different, but also, as importantly, allowing the likes of our staff, who are the key drivers in the development of these athletes, to go out there and experience new things, continue to develop themselves, continue to improve themselves. I think, the more skilled our practitioners are, the more skilled our coaches are, these things are only going to stand us in good stead going forward. From our side, I think, we also, we're I think one of the most important things is sharing knowledge, and we actively look at how we engage different organizations, provide feedback, provide input to various organizations. We have engaged with the likes of BFI while they were here at the training camp, and have no problem with having our staff engaged, because we believe it's a two-way community where our staff will also have an opportunity to learn different things when they start engaging with different people. We've been lucky to open doors, and I think open our doors to various other organizations to have training camps. When we open our doors like this, it creates stimulus, not only for the people coming in, but for our athletes also. We've had various training camps at the Inspire. We've had the men's national boxing camp, which I think was a really big success, and that included teams from Australia and Italy. So, while we believe we provided a good experience for the athletes, both the national and international, it gave our young athletes an opportunity to watch and learn and see on an ongoing basis what is being done by top class athletes, not only international athletes, but obviously some of the very best Indian athletes that we have. I think one of the challenges that you will find in India would be the domestic competition structures. There's not. I think we can do with more domestic competitions, and while they are not that. While it is a challenge, I think the way we have gone about trying to address that challenge would be by inviting different organizations to have training camps at IAS. And from a boxing perspective, we've been really lucky where we've had the Goa Boxing Association, we've had the Army Sports Institute, to name but a few. Similarly, in wrestling, we were very happy to invite the Gujarat Sports Authority with a very good group of wrestlers out here. And similarly, in wrestling, we had a tie-up with the Sports Authority, the Army Sports Institute, but we've also invested in bringing some international athletes out to IAS, which has allowed our athletes to, instead of going overseas all the time, that becomes a really, really costly exercise, but allowing our athletes to get international exposure by bringing international athletes to IAS. We've had two junior world championship medalists in the wrestling that have come out also. We've also had some Japanese wrestlers that have come out here. That allows us gives us good value where we can expose a wider group of athletes to a different international experience. So, for us, that's really, really exciting. I've spoken a lot about the environment, but I think what is really important from an Indian point of view, while IAS is one such environment, and we are a completely not-for-profit organization where athletes are selected based on the talent, I think we should only be one of many within India. There are some great facilities at SAI, but it would be good to see other corporates coming on board and opening facilities such as, similar to IAS, hopefully, they can at the same standard, and it's really important to create that standard. But to see other institutes come up would be exciting. I think it would challenge. It would create different challenges and positive challenges where kids have the opportunity to get good coaching, to get good sports science, to get a good daily training environment. To that end, from our own perspective, we are looking at different opportunities of expanding. We're currently out. We're looking at a project in Hisar. We're investing in a project are again looking at how that can expand the programs that we're currently involved in by upgrading the facilities as well as providing some staff support there. We have opportunities we're looking at opportunities in Marshall, a great place to go in terms of altitude training, primarily boxing. And we've recently started a small swimming program that we hope to expand on in Bhubaneswar, which we're quite excited about. And obviously from our own perspective, it's something that is near and dear to me. Probably something that we'll be looking at expanding on at IAS in the near future also from a swimming perspective. As I said, I think we are certainly open to having people, come and visit IS, come and interact with our staff, looking at opportunities whereby we can learn from you, and also where you have an opportunity to learn. I think if we can do that, there's certainly great synergies that can be created in India. At the end of the day, the focus of what we do, and I think the focus of what we all should be doing as people that are passionate about sport, proud of Indian sport, would be how is it that we create systems and environments that allow Indian athletes to go on and be the best that they can be. Not every person will be an Olympian, not everyone will be an Olympic champion, but if we create an environment where athletes become better athletes and by extension better people, the only winner in all of this would be India. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I'm going to have a look at some of the questions now, and I'll try to answer some. If I don't get to your questions, I'm really sorry. We can connect in another way, but so apologies in advance if I don't get to everyone. I'll just have a look at some of the questions and try to answer them. One of the questions popped up was our selection process to IIS. The selection process is, we have firstly we've got talent scouts on the ground, and then we will get the information back from them. We also attend all the national competitions, cadet, junior. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to get out to state competitions. Once we have identified an athlete that has good technical expertise, we bring them to IIS for a 2-week trial. When they're at IIS, there's a fair amount of observation that goes into it from both a technical and tactical point of view. Athletes are subjected to different tests, physiological tests, physical tests, medical tests. There's an academic assessment with them also. So, the first point as we're sitting right now would be seeing a result at a national competition, inviting them over to IS to spend some time with us. Not every athlete that we invite actually is selected. It's really important to understand whether the athlete has the ability to adapt to the environment that we've created here, whether the athlete has the ability to make the necessary changes that we're expecting of them. Does the athlete want to learn? Does the athlete want to do something new? Those are all factors that we take into consideration when observing the athlete for a period of 2 weeks. Obviously, critical to all of that is if they don't pass a medical exam that allows them to be, allows them to train at the levels that we require, then, we don't have, unfortunately, we can't move forward with that particular athlete. How are we managing COVID-19 situation? That's a very relevant question and obviously extremely important question right now. I mean, and it would be remiss of me not to, not to say that, it's obviously a grave situation the world over, and, we sympathize with the people that have lost lives everywhere around the world. So we are dealing with it through a slightly different environment. Many of our athletes couldn't return home in time, and putting them on a train and putting them on flights would have exposed them to even further risks. So what we've done is contain the environment that we live within. We have stopped any of our housekeeping within IAS. The athletes are now doing their own rooms, cleaning their own rooms, washing up themselves. We've all external parties, with the exception of critical vendors, have been allowed to come into IIS. When they're coming into IIS, they have to go through a thermal screening. All staff, all external vendors are expected to be in personal protective equipment when they're on site at IIS. And times they're not allowed to spend more time than what is necessary. Athletes we've had a medical team doing assessments for all our athletes, not testing, assessments, and we monitor the athletes on a regular basis. Due to the situation, we have not allowed the athletes to go into the Vidyanagar township at this point in time, because again, that allows an additional level of risk. With our combat sports, our training has been, all our training has been modified. The athletes are practicing social distancing, so it's very individual training at a very wide distance situation. So there's no contact in contact sports at all. Our kitchen, the athletes are eating in batches now, even though our kitchen can feed everybody at the same time. In order to practice social distancing, we put them in batches and maintain the various distances between the athletes. That's how we're doing. Okay, let's see what else we have here. How to give values to stakeholders. I think that's a very, very important question. I mean, for us, I think the way we do it is we have a very clear understanding of what the information is that the stakeholders want. The stakeholders have a certain expectation when they align to an organization such as IAS. So we try to understand what it is, what the parameters are that they want to see when they when they partner with us, because that's exactly what they are. They're a partner with us. And some organizations would want to understand how we are providing academic support. So there's various reports and various metrics that we measure on an ongoing basis to provide that kind of feedback to that particular donor. Some of them would want to know about our female athlete program. Indecent is one such example. They would want to know what's progress, how they're progressing across the board, not only in their sport but in the academics. What is their level of well-being? So information to to our various donors on an ongoing basis. And needless to say, we also provide exposure to our donors, and in the form of our various social media handles, the athletes, in terms of ongoing discussions where they are required to meet with our donors. Our athletes would go out and do that. So those are the kind of things we do in terms of adding value for our donors. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Managing COVID, we've spoken about that. If anybody wants to pop up a question right now, because there's quite a few comments, and I'm having to scroll through. So if you pop up a question now, I'll be able to see it at the top of the screen. How do you see the role of high-quality sports science at IIS and in Indian sport more widely? Dr. Martin Thomas, thanks for the question. Hope all is well out in Birmingham. I see sports science as a critical support mechanism for sport in India. I think I've already declared my my coaching allegiance. However, for me, when I've got a within IS we have a philosophy of um, coach led, and when we speak about coach led, it's about understanding what the needs are in order to provide value to the coaching towards the coaches. So if we're going to be doing testing, testing that is going to be have some application at the end of the day. It's not testing for the sake of testing. Sports science also allows us to quantify many things that gives us evidence in terms of how we can proceed on the way forward. Both from a coaching point of view, but also from a talent identification point of view. So, high performer, sports science is a supporting role to what we do, and especially when it becomes an applied area of sports science, which adds value to how we continue to support our athletes. I think, just to be clear, I think comment about environment, and what do we mean by environment? Environment is not only the actual facility that we work within here. It's not. It's more than that. While the facility is one part, the facility means nothing without the people that we have on the ground and the culture we're trying to create. I think these things these all form part of what I perceive as an environment. There was a comment I don't about wanting to talk about the environment as such. So I think when I talk about world-class daily training environment, it's the facility, it's the people, it's the culture, it's the details of everything that we do. It's about how we're trying to make the athletes, how we're trying to make the athletes feel comfortable, feel motivated. Those are all part and parcel of the environment, not really just the facility that we have. Do you have any ideas for sports scholarships to talented athletes? From our organizational point of view, I think every athlete that is with us is on a scholarship. So when they come to IIS, we provide for want of a better word, a full scholarship for any athlete that comes in here. We provide all the support, and obviously, when they come to Kelo India, they have a level of support through Kelo India also. But we generally provide all their accommodation, all their food, travel to competition, technical equipment, etc. So, do you have any other ideas? I think obviously none of this would be possible without the corporates, right? So, engaging the corporates in an organization, provide support, provide financial means, are different ways of providing scholarships for athletes. This is a very good question. Do you have a faculty exchange program to upgrade technical expertise of coaches? The answer is, do we have a formal engagement? No. But would we look at how we formalize that in the future? I think absolutely. We have had coaches from different organizations coming to spend time at IIS, and I think the opportunity is not only to upgrade coaches coming in, but it also gives us an opportunity to where our coaches can learn something new. So as it stands right now, do we have a formal agreement with different people? No, we don't. Different organizations? No, we don't. But certainly something that we'd have to look at going forward. I think it adds a lot of value to all parties concerned. Um, there's an academics question. Does IAS give any homework to your athletes, and are you assessing them? I'm assuming that we're talking about the academics part. We try to run our academics department very much like a school. Obviously, at this point in time, there's a break in the academics program, but they run on a formal basis where the athletes are assessed regularly through. So the faculties or the not the faculties, the education programs that we use would be either the CBSE program or the Open Schooling Forum. Athletes are assessed on a regular basis, and the results of those athletes are fed back to us to understand whether they're making ongoing progress or not. So yes, there is continuous evaluation and assessment with our athletes from an academic point of view. I think I've got time for one more question. Oh, last question. Let's see. Can technical and tactical stabilization be ensured of the athlete when they're practicing at home without coach or trainer? Um, it really depends on the athlete themselves. We try to, I mean, from our side, I think it's what we try to do is ensure that the athletes are, become more and more independent as they go along. Um, and I think it will always be a challenge for athletes, especially younger athletes, to have this technical and tactical stabilization when they're away from home or away from their coaches, because when you're younger, you need more and more feedback from the coach in order to establish the principles, the basic outline, the basic foundations. So for the younger athletes, I think it would be obviously a bit more of a challenge. With older athletes, as they spend more time with you, as they understand your philosophy, as they understand the way of doing things, the correct way of doing things, it becomes easier and easier. We do try to use digital platforms and various digital communication, electronic communication, to keep in touch with some of our athletes at this point in time that are outside of the institute, that are at home during this lockdown period, to at least provide them with basic programs where they can continue at least in their physical fitness. And once the lockdown lifts, at least get them back in a manner that where they can get into their training programs much faster, much quicker. So from my side, I think we've come to probably the end of the session. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for spending time with me. I would be more than keen to interact with you in any other forums. And from our side, all the best. Please stay at home, stay safe, and look after yourselves, look after your family. Thank you very much.